Hey players, welcome to PlayasGuide. On this episode of PlayasGuide, I'm going to be talking about Famicom games that were not released here in North America, and I got some good ones for you. So strap on and get ready. For those of you not familiar with the Famicom is the Japanese version of the NES, which was released in Japan before it was brought over to North America and released as the Nintendo Entertainment System. First up, we have a game called Doko Don for the Famicom. This game plays a lot like Snow Brothers or Bubble Bobble. In this game, you play as a bearded dwarf jumping from platform to platform, smashing enemies over the head with a mallet, then kicking them. Once all the enemies on the screen have been smashed or kicked to death, you can advance to the next screen. You will come across random power-ups throughout each stage and fruit which can be collected to gain more points. Each section of the game has a different theme and introduces new enemies. At the end of the section, you are faced with a boss fight. Doko Don is a lot of fun. It's a 1 to 2 player game and it can be found fairly easily online and it's not too expensive. Super Star Force is the sequel to Star Force, a game which was released here in North America. It's a vertical shoot-'em-up, or shmup as some people like to call them. The gameplay in Super Star Force builds on the first game, adding an adventure aspect to this game. There are certain areas of the game for you to explore and shops to visit, where power-ups can be purchased. Points accumulated by defeating enemies throughout the game are used as currency. Points will have to be saved up throughout each stage in order to move on to the next stage, as each stage has a cost to exit and move on. The goal is to travel through time or stages in order to meet and destroy Gortys, who is mentioned throughout the game. The combination of shoot-'em-up and dungeon adventure makes this game one of my favorite discoveries on the Famicom. If it sounds interesting to you to pick up a copy, it's common and it's fairly cheap. Wai Wai World SOS is a platformer by Konami which features several different Konami characters that are playable in this game. Bill from Contra, Simon Belmont from Castlevania, Goemon from Mystical Ninja, a series which was exclusive to Japan on the Famicom. Upa from Biomiracle Baby from the Famicom disc game. Twin from Twin, Getsu Fuma from another Famicom game. Vic from Gradius, and Rick, the main character who is only in Wai Wai World games from what I can tell. You are able to switch between 3 of these characters, who are chosen at the start of the game. Wai Wai World 2 levels are all based on different Konami games, most of which are games that the playable characters are from. So it's fun to match up levels with the characters. There's a variety of different gameplay styles for each stage, including shooters, and if you don't particularly like a stage, you can usually choose a different path to follow on the overworld. Wai Wai World has a password system and isn't too difficult to beat. The game is fairly uncommon, but since you will most likely have to purchase this one online, you shouldn't have too much trouble finding it. It's also not the cheapest game, but I wouldn't say that it's expensive either. Metrocross is a runner game where you make your way running through the metro in order to beat a time limit. Within that short time limit, you must make your way to the end goal, and in order to do so, you'll have to avoid several different obstacles, either by jumping over them or finding a way around them. If you hit one, you will get stunned, costing you valuable time. There are power-ups, cans that can be kicked, springs to jump on, and speed boosts, which all help reach the goal faster, because if you don't, you will get electrocuted. Metrocross has a fun and addictive style of gameplay which I find to be very challenging. Metrocross can be found fairly easily online and shouldn't cost much. Twin Bee 3 is a lot like Twin Bee and Twin Bee 2, known as Stinger on the NES. It's a vertical shoot 'em up or cute 'em up, and kind of a strange one. The stages are bright and colorful, and the enemies come in a variety of different forms, such as drums and other instruments, fish, swords, and other strange things. And if that seems odd, get a load of some of these stage bosses. The game can be difficult without power-ups, so you will need to collect and muster up as much power as you can. This can be done by collecting bells. Bells appear out of the clouds when shot. Shooting a bell will project it away from you. If you continue to shoot a bell, it will change color, causing it to have a higher point value and increase the effect of the power-up you will gain from it once collected. Twin Bee 3 is an uncommon game, but you shouldn't have any trouble finding it online for a reasonable price. If you like Kid Nicky, then you'll love Kid Nicky 2. I like Kid Nicky 2 more than the original. Kid Nicky 2 is a side-scrolling action platformer. The game starts off on an overworld map with the option to select from multiple different stages to start from. Each stage has a variety of enemies and power-ups to increase your health, give you points, or gain an extra life or power-up. In Kid Nicky 2, you can transform for a brief period of time into a frog, bird, or elephant. The frog jumps, the bird flies, and the elephant is strong. These abilities will help you with certain areas of different stages. At the end of each stage, you fight a boss. These fights usually aren't too difficult. In fact, the whole game is pretty easy. Kid Nicky 2 is a very uncommon Famicom game that you might find online without much trouble, but then again, it's not always available. It's also not a cheap game either. Thanks for checking out my video on Famicom Games, players. I enjoy playing all of these Famicom games, and if they look interesting to you, I'm going to try and find some links to them on eBay and post them below in the description so that you can find a copy for yourself. Please like and subscribe to the channel. It's greatly appreciated and free to do so. And if you have any recommendations for Famicom games, leave them in the comments below, because I'd really like to make another video like this one. Anyways, later, players.